So although we're in the middle of the NCAA tournament, most college basketball teams are already looking ahead to next season and the chaos that is the transfer portal. And there have been a ton of big names that have already announced their intentions to enter the portal as soon as it opens. So in this one, we're going to be going over all of those players that are going to be the most sought after once the portal opens and where they could end up. But before we get into it, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. But now, let's jump into it. And I want to start with the guy who basically kicked everything off with announcing his intention to enter the portal about a week ago, and that's Stefan Vaaks from Providence. And Vaaks might be one of the most intriguing scorers we have in the entire portal right now. He just averaged 15.8 points as a freshman while shooting 35% from three, and at 6'7", he brings elite size for a guard who can score at all three levels. And what really stands out is how he elevated late in the season, dropping 28 points against Butler and 23 points against St. John's in the Big East tournament. And that kind of production, especially as a freshman, is extremely rare. And with Providence going through coaching changes right now, Vaaks feels like a player ready to make the jump to another high major contender immediately. But to me, Vaaks isn't even the biggest name in the transfer portal right now, and that's because we just got news that Jackson Shelstad has announced he will be transferring from Oregon, and he might be the most impactful guard that ends up going into the portal. He only played 12 games this season at Oregon due to injury, but his impact was undeniable when he was on the floor. Oregon went 6-6 with him, but just 6-14 without him this season, which tells you everything about his value. He averaged 15.5 points and nearly 5 assists per game, with multiple 20-point performances and several high-level playmaking games. And Shelstad has already proven he can take over late in games, and if he stays healthy, he has the ability to completely transform a team's offense, and I expect he's going to end up at one of the top high major programs next season. But Shelstad isn't the only one leaving Oregon, because Kwame Evans Jr. also announced he will be entering the transfer portal, and this season his development makes him one of the most intriguing two-way forwards available to me. He averaged 13.5 points and 7.5 rebounds while starting every game for the Ducks, and he showed real growth after being a reserve earlier in his career. And Evans is 6'10" and has length and versatility, and he fits perfectly into the modern game as a switchable forward who can both defend and score. And he's also a former McDonald's All-American, which only adds to his upside. And the interesting part is that he could test the NBA draft process while still being one of the most valuable portal players. But if I have to guess, I would assume he'd be back in college once again next season. But right now, to me, the best forward and just overall player that's going to be entering the portal this offseason is Paulius Murauskas from St. Mary's. And Murauskas averaged 18.5 points and 7.5 rebounds this season and had 15 games with 20 or more points for the Gales, making him one of the most productive forwards in all of college basketball. He earned all WCC honors and consistently carried St. Mary's offensively. But the biggest factor here, I think, is the coaching change, with Randy Bennett leaving and heading to Arizona State, which has triggered a potential roster exodus from St. Mary's. And Murauskas was the one that led that, and he could follow his coach or land out an even better contender. But wherever he goes, he immediately raises that team's ceiling. And another major piece from St. Mary's entering the portal was guard Mikey Lewis, and this confirms that that program could be facing a full reset next season. But Lewis is awesome and averaged 14 points per game and also earned all WCC honors and has proved he can be a reliable scoring guard at just about any level. He has the ability to create his own shot and provides instant offense when he's on the floor, which is always in demand in the portal. And with multiple St. Mary's players leaving, this is a clear example of how coaching changes can completely reshape a roster almost overnight. But there was an even better guard that entered the portal earlier, and that was Dedan Thomas Jr. from LSU, and he is one of the most proven point guards that's currently going to be available in the transfer portal. He averaged 15.5 points and 6.5 assists this season for LSU, and that level of production, especially as both a scorer and a facilitator, makes him extremely valuable for teams. And this season, he was limited a bit by injuries, but when healthy, he's shown he can control an offense and create opportunities for both himself and others. And now he'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining, but he can become a high-level win-now option for teams looking for immediate backcourt production, and we know there will be a lot of those teams out there. And another big name that announced his intention to enter the portal is KJ Lewis from Georgetown, and Lewis will be back in the portal after only one season with the Hoyas. But KJ Lewis brings a completely different type of value compared to some of the other players on this list. This season, he averaged 15 points and 5 rebounds, while also ranking second in the Big East in steals, showing his impact on both ends of the floor. He's a versatile defender who can guard multiple positions and thrives doing the dirty work that winning teams need. And offensively, he attacks the basket well, and if his jump shot continues to improve, as we've seen season after season, he could take a major leap at his next stop. But maybe the biggest name and the most interesting breakout candidate in the portal right now is Eli Ellis from South Carolina, and Ellis only averaged 8.5 points per game, but he didn't start a single game all season for the Gamecocks, which shows how effective he was as a spark plug off the bench. He played nearly 27 minutes per game and consistently provided energy and scoring when he entered it. He also had multiple double-digit performances, including a 20-point game against Southern Miss, and with a larger role, I really do think Ellis has the potential to significantly increase his production at his next school, but I'm not exactly sure what level that's going to be at. But we also have another duo that's entering the transfer portal, and this time it's from Belmont, off the heels of their head coach Casey Alexander leaving for Kansas State. And first, we have Tyler Lundblade, who might be the best pure shooter available in the portal right now. He shot 40.5% from 3 this season while making 115 threes, and what makes that even more impressive is that he shot 48% from deep the year before, so that level of consistency and volume is extremely rare in a college basketball player. And as the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year this season, he has already proven he can carry an offense, and elite shooting like this can immediately elevate any team's offensive efficiency, and it wouldn't surprise me if he found himself following Alexander to Kansas State. In the second half of the Belmont duo is big man Drew Scharnowski, and he is one of the most efficient bigs entering the portal as of now. He shot an incredible 68% from the field while averaging 10.5 points and 6 rebounds per game, and he also made a major impact defensively with 1.5 blocks per game. He earned all MVC first team and all defensive teams honors, highlighting his value as a two-way player, and his efficiency around the rim and ability to protect the paint make him a strong fit for teams looking to add interior presence without sacrificing offensive production, and I definitely think he could be a really great piece for a lot of high major programs next season. But maybe the biggest winner this offseason is going to be Gavin Doty from Siena, and that comes off of what he was able to do against Duke in that first round NCAA tournament game. But Doty is a high-level scoring wing who could attract serious attention from major programs because of that. He averaged 18 points and nearly 7 rebounds per game, showing both scoring ability and physicality. He also finished the season extremely strong with 3 straight 20-point games, including that impressive performance against Duke in the NCAA tournament. And with his size and ability to create offense, Doty looks like a player ready to make the jump to a higher level, and he could find himself following his coach to Syracuse, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he was offered more money elsewhere. But another big name that just announced that they will be entering the portal is Christian Hammond from Santa Clara, and Hammond is another proven scorer that will be in this year's transfer portal. He averaged 15.5 points per game while shooting over 39% from 3 and earned all WCC first team honors and consistently produced throughout the season, including 9 games with 20 or more points. He's an efficient offensive player who can score at all 3 levels, and his ability to stretch the floor makes him a valuable addition for teams looking to improve spacing, and he showed that he could help lead Santa Clara to an NCAA tournament, which should help him gain the attention from a lot of these high major programs that are going to be looking for a proven scorer at the guard position. But maybe one of my favorite guards that's going to be in the portal this offseason is BJ Davis from San Diego State, and him entering the portal could signal some bigger changes for the Aztecs. He averaged 11 points per game and played a key role off the bench for one of the best second units in the country, but to me, he should have been starting the entire time because at one point, he was even the team's leading scorer despite not starting in those games. He finished the season strong, including a 30-point performance late in the year, and his combination of scoring and experience will make him a valuable piece for teams looking for both depth and production on the offensive end. And then there's DeSean Goode from Robert Morris, and you might not have heard his name, but he was one of the most efficient players and will be one in the entire portal. His numbers are almost unbelievable. He averaged 15 points and 9 rebounds while shooting 63% from the field and an incredible 57% from deep, and he also won Horizon League Player of the Year this season, which speaks to his overall impact impact on the court. And at 6'8", with that level of efficiency and rebounding ability, he's the type of player who could thrive immediately at the high major level. And another player that's going to be coming from a small school is Ethan Roberts, and he represents a growing trend that we've seen in college basketball, where Ivy League players are successfully making the jump to higher levels. He averaged over 16 points per game in multiple seasons while maintaining efficient shooting numbers throughout. He's a veteran forward who understands how to score and play within a system, and given recent success stories from similar players like Xavier Lee, who was just at Florida, Roberts could be one of the more reliable additions for teams in the portal. But I also want to quickly mention two bigs that are entering the portal, because these two could be game changers for teams. Chol Machot from Charleston might be the best defensive big man available. He averaged 2.5 blocks per game and ranked top 10 nationally in total blocks with 79 on the season, which immediately stands out. But then also, he's 7 feet tall and provides elite rim protection and has the athleticism to impact games defensively at a high level. And while his offensive game is still developing, his defensive presence alone makes him a valuable target for teams looking to improve their interior defense. And then you got Anton Bonke from Charlotte. And Bonke was one of the most physically imposing players that will be in the portal, because he's 7'2" and 270 pounds. He averaged 10.5 points and 8 rebounds this season, while also contributing 1.5 blocks per game. And what makes him even more intriguing is that he shot over 34% from 3 as a 7-footer, which is extremely rare for someone that size. And he's already shown he can compete against high major competition. And with his combination of size and skill, I think his upside is significant. But that wraps it up for this one. Make sure to stay tuned for more college basketball transfer portal content, as I'll be covering it as soon as it opens and any more news that comes along. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.